Ever wonder who makes sure your favorite seafood restaurant has the freshest catch?
Or like, how do those exotic oysters even get to your plate?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, how does that even happen?
Today we're diving into the world of wholesale seafood merchants.
Okay.
We're using insights from career development experts over at RoleCatcher.
Cool.
So this is a role that I think a lot of people don't really think about.
It's a behind the scenes kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like hidden,
Yeah,
but it's the backbone of the entire seafood supply chain.
it is.
And when we say wholesale seafood merchants,
Yeah.
we're not just talking about somebody who knows the difference between like
Right.
cod and tilapia.
It's way more than that.
Yeah. So today what we're going to be uncovering is how these merchants
Right?
connect the dots
Yeah.
between the fishermen and the chefs.
Yes.
They're negotiating the deals
Right.
that impact what we see on menus,
Oh, wow.
prices that we pay,
Interesting.
all of that.
The prices thing is really interesting to me.
Isn't it? Because
Yeah.
I know that seafood prices can fluctuate like crazy.
They can. And I think that's something that's really fascinating about this whole thing is the level of market knowledge involved.
Right.
So, you mentioned knowing the difference between cod and tilapia, like that's important. But like,
Yeah.
let's take cod, for example.
Okay.
Let's say there are new sustainable fishing regulations that are impacting haddock supplies.
Okay.
A good wholesale seafood merchant
Yeah.
would know to anticipate a surge in cod demand because of that.
Oh, wow.
And they would leverage that knowledge in their negotiations.
So they're not just reacting to the market, they're staying steps ahead.
Exactly. They have to be thinking ahead all the time.
It really makes you realize there's a lot more to this job than meets the eye.
Oh, absolutely.
So RoleCatcher uses the term born negotiator.
Okay.
What does that even mean in this context?
Right, because it's not just about haggling.
Right.
It's not just about getting the lowest price.
Exactly.
It's about truly understanding the needs of both the supplier and the buyer.
Oh.
So let's say, for example, a fisherman needs to offload a catch really quickly to avoid spoilage.
Okay, that makes sense.
And you have a buyer who's willing to pay a premium for that freshness.
Right.
A skilled negotiator brings those two together in a win-win.
Okay, so they're like a problem solver.
Exactly.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's a lot of problem solving.
Because I imagine it takes serious people skills, too.
Oh,
We're talking about building relationships with, like you said, these seasoned fishermen, but also these high-end chefs.
Yeah, you've got to be able to speak both of their languages.
Right, and maybe across different time zones and cultures.
Exactly.
So RoleCatcher really emphasizes that strong communication is absolutely vital in this job.
Oh, it's not just about knowing the price of fish.
Right.
You have to be able to communicate, effectively build trust, and even navigate cultural nuances, all while making sure that the deal is profitable for everyone involved.
Right.
It's a lot to juggle.
So we've got the negotiation skills,
Yep.
the global connections,
Right.
but then there's the product itself, all that delicious seafood.
Of course, we can't forget about the seafood.
I bet these merchants could teach us a thing or two about picking the perfect catch.
Oh, I'm sure they could.
Yeah.
They're dealing with it day in and day out.
Right.
But, knowing your product is just the starting point.
Oh, okay.
RoleCatcher calls these professionals market mavens for a reason.
Okay.
They need to be able to predict trends, analyze global markets, and understand how different factors could influence prices. Like, for example,
Okay.
did you know that a heat wave in Japan
Okay.
can actually spike the price of sea urchin?
Wow. No, I did not know that.
See,
That's a good example.
yeah, that's the kind of thing that these merchants, they know,
Wow.
they need to know.
So they're always thinking ahead.
Always.
Oh, it's kind of like,
Like, what's going to happen next? What's going to impact the market?
yeah,
It's fascinating.
it's like a constant game of chess.
It really is.
What I also think is really interesting about RoleCatcher's take on this is they don't shy away from the realities of this job.
Right.
They highlight both the perks and then the potential downsides as well.
And I think that's really important for anybody who's considering this as
Yeah.
a career path, because you need to know what you're getting into.
It's not all sunshine and sea breezes.
It's not all sunshine and sea breezes.
It's not all sunshine and sea breezes, no.
So let's talk about the good stuff first. What are some of the upsides of a career as a wholesale seafood merchant?
Okay.
RoleCatcher mentioned flexible hours.
Yeah, flexible hours are a huge plus these days.
Right.
Who doesn't want a little bit more flexibility in their life?
For sure.
And on top of that, we've got the potential for high earnings.
Okay.
Those commission checks can be pretty enticing, especially if you're a skilled negotiator.
Right, if you're really good at what you do.
Exactly. You can land those big deals and really rake it in.
Okay, so big earning potential, flexible hours.
Yeah, That sounds pretty good so far.
But what about the downsides? Because there have to be some... Oh, of course there are always downsides.
You don't reach the top of the seafood chain without weathering a few storms.
That's a good way to put it.
So tell me, what does RoleCatcher have to say about that?
Well, they emphasize that the work can be pretty demanding.
Okay, in what way?
You're going to have long hours,
Okay.
and there's going to be intense pressure to meet deadlines.
Right, because we are talking about perishable goods here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A shipment of lobster can't exactly wait for anyone,
No, it can't.
so you've got to be on top of your game.
So it's not a career for the faint of heart.
No, it's not for someone who wants a predictable 9 to 5,
Right.
but for the right person.
Yeah.
It sounds incredibly dynamic and rewarding.
Yeah, it does sound pretty exciting if you're really into it.
Definitely.
But where do you even begin? How do you break into the world of wholesale seafood?
Right. That's the big question.
And more importantly, how do you climb that ladder to success?
Right. How do you become the top merchant?
Exactly.
We need to find out.
So we've established this is a fast-paced career.
It's high stakes,
Yeah.
but also the potential for high rewards.
Oh, yeah, big time.
It's not just about knowing your seafood.
No.
It's about understanding the market,
Right.
building those relationships, and being able to negotiate like a pro.
Yeah, be a pro.
So those skills, I imagine they take time and experience to develop.
They do. And luckily, RoleCatcher provides some guidance on this,
Oh, good. Okay.
on kind of how to get started.
Okay, so this is where their insights into the industry could be really valuable for anyone listening who's just starting out.
Absolutely.
So what kind of advice do they give?
Well, they emphasize that you don't necessarily need to start at the top.
Okay.
You know, like you don't have to jump right into being this big-time wholesale seafood merchant right away.
Okay.
Entry-level roles, even if they seem unrelated at first glance,
Okay.
can provide valuable experience.
Okay. Like what?
So think about things like logistics,
Oh.
customer service,
Okay.
even just working at a seafood market or a distributor.
Just to get a feel for how the industry works
Mhm.
and start building your network.
So it's about keeping an open mind,
Yeah.
looking for opportunities to learn and grow, even if it's not your dream job right away.
Exactly, because you're going to learn so much from those entry-level positions.
Right,
Even if it's not exactly what you see yourself doing long term.
right.
And RoleCatcher actually has this cool feature called Career Navigator
Okay.
that can actually help you map out these potential pathways.
Oh, wow.
It's like having a GPS for your career,
I love that.
right? It shows you different routes you can take to reach your final destination.
Okay, so that is super helpful.
It's super helpful.
Especially, I imagine, in a field that's as specialized as seafood.
Oh, yeah. You need all the help you can get.
Right.
It's a tough industry to break into.
Okay, so let's say you've got some experience under your belt.
Okay.
Maybe you're working as a seafood buyer for a restaurant, or you've got a few years in sales at a distributor.
Okay, got it.
What's next? How do you level up to that wholesale seafood merchant role?
So this is where continuous learning comes in.
Okay.
RoleCatcher really emphasizes this.
Okay.
The seafood industry is constantly evolving.
Right.
New regulations, trends, challenges are emerging all the time.
Makes sense.
You can't just like learn everything once and be done.
Right. So you can't rest on your laurels. You've got to be
No,
constantly
keep learning, keep growing.
expanding your knowledge base.
Yes,
So it's all about being that market maven, like we talked about earlier.
exactly. You got to be one step ahead,
Right.
anticipating those trends before they even happen.
So, like, how do you do that? What does that look like?
Well, it could be taking some online courses,
Okay.
attending industry conferences,
Okay.
even just like staying up to date on trade publications.
Okay.
Like, for example, knowing the latest sustainability certification
Yes. Yeah.
or understanding the impact of climate change on fishing quotas.
Right.
That kind of knowledge can give you a real edge.
Right. Because that shows that you're really thinking ahead,
Exactly.
thinking about the bigger picture.
And it's not just about being a better wholesale seafood merchant.
Right.
It also builds your credibility and reputation within the industry.
So people will take you more seriously.
Exactly. It'll be like, oh, this person, they know what they're talking about.
They're on top of it.
They're the one to go to.
That's got to be crucial when you're building those relationships
Oh, absolutely.
with the suppliers and buyers.
Yeah, you got to have that reputation.
Speaking of relationships, I imagine networking is a big part of this career.
Huge.
Like, really big.
It's everything.
Okay.
RoleCatcher actually has a whole section on their platform dedicated to networking
Oh, wow.
with tips on how to build your professional circle within the seafood industry.
So it's not just about what you know.
Well,
It's also about who you know.
it's all about who you know,
Okay, so how do you do it?
right?
How do you network effectively in this industry?
Well, it's about putting yourself out there,
Yeah.
attending those industry events,
Oh, yeah.
connecting with people on LinkedIn,
Okay.
Even just striking up conversations with folks at your local seafood market.
Okay.
You never know where that next opportunity is going to come from.
It's like the saying goes, it's all about who you know.
Exactly.
So you've got to build those relationships.
Yeah.
But networking can be intimidating,
Oh, tell me about it.
especially for introverts like me.
Right.
Any advice from RoleCatcher on how to make the most of it?
They emphasize the importance of preparation.
Okay.
Don't just show up at an event and hope for the best.
Right.
Do your research.
Okay.
Identify some key people you want to connect with.
Okay.
Have a few conversation starters in mind.
So it's almost like going into a negotiation.
It is.
Like you want to have a strategy.
You got to have a strategy.
Right.
Know what you're going to say,
Right.
who you want to talk to.
Have your goals.
Exactly.
Okay.
And don't be afraid to ask questions and show genuine interest
Okay.
in what other people are doing. Because networking is a two-way street.
Right. It's not just about what you can get from other people.
Exactly.
It's about what you can offer as well.
It's about building those mutually beneficial relationships,
Right.
not just collecting business cards.
Don't just like shove your business card in their face and walk away.
Exactly. Nobody likes that guy.
Right.
You got to actually build a connection.
So it's about building a rapport with people.
Yeah. Be genuine. Be interested.
Okay. But let's be real.
Okay.
Even with all the best preparation,
Right.
networking skills,
Yeah.
there are always going to be challenges in this line of work.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
This is not an easy job.
Right. We talked about the long hours, the pressure to meet deadlines,
Right.
but RoleCatcher also highlights the importance of being able to handle risk.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
So we're talking about perishable goods here.
Exactly.
Things don't always go according to plan.
Never.
Right.
There's always something.
So give me an example. What kind of risks are we talking about?
Okay, so let's say you've negotiated this major deal
Okay.
to supply fresh salmon to this big chain of restaurants.
Okay.
Everything's set, the price is right,
Okay.
and then boom, a storm hits.
Oh, no.
Delays the shipment by several days.
Oh, no.
Now you've got a bunch of unhappy chefs,
Right.
potential financial losses,
Yeah.
and a whole lot of salmon at risk of spoiling.
That sounds really stressful.
It would be very stressful.
So how do you, as a wholesale seafood merchant,
Yeah,
how do you mitigate those risks?
right.
What's your secret weapon?
Well, experience and market knowledge definitely play a role,
Okay.
but it also comes down to building those strong relationships
Okay.
with your suppliers.
Okay.
Because if you've got that good rapport
Right.
with your fishermen and your distributors,
Right.
you're more likely to get a heads up if there's a potential problem.
Right. So they can give you the warning.
Exactly. And then you can start brainstorming solutions together.
Okay. So it's more than just getting a good price.
Oh, absolutely.
It's about having those trusted partners
Yeah, you need those people you can rely on
that you can rely on when things get tough.
because things will get tough.
Right.
It's inevitable.
That's a good point.
And that kind of trust,
Yeah,
that takes time and effort to cultivate.
for sure.
That's not something you can just like fake or shortcut.
It's like any relationship in life. It
Exactly.
takes time to build that mutual respect and that trust.
Yeah, you got to put in the work.
So when it all comes together, though,
Yeah.
when you've navigated the market,
Right.
landed the deal,
Yep.
and delivered that perfect catch,
Yes.
that must feel good.
Oh, it feels amazing.
But-
It's like all your hard work is paid off.
Right.
You've connected the dots.
Yes.
You've brought this delicious seafood to people's plates.
And everyone's happy.
Everybody wins.
It's like you're the conductor of this big orchestra,
I like that analogy.
right?
The conductor of the seafood orchestra.
Bringing it all together.
Yes.
Welcome back to the deep dive.
We're in the home stretch now.
We've been talking about what it takes to make it as a wholesale seafood merchant.
It's a lot,
It is a lot.
but I think it sounds like a really rewarding career.
It does. If you're into seafood and you like negotiating and you're good with people,
Yeah, and you can handle a little bit of risk,
a little bit of risk.
a little bit of chaos.
Exactly.
It's not for everyone, but for
Yeah.
the right person, it could be a great fit.
So we've talked about the skills you need, the challenges you'll face, but what about the tools and resources
Oh, yeah.
that can help you succeed?
Because having the right tools can make all the difference,
Absolutely.
especially in a competitive field like this one.
So we've mentioned RoleCatcher a few times.
They've got some really interesting stuff
Yeah.
on their platform.
So let's dive into specifically how RoleCatcher can give aspiring merchants that extra edge.
Okay, let's do it.
So let's say I'm hooked on this career path.
Okay.
I want to trade in my suit for some waiters. I'm ready to dive headfirst into the world of seafood.
I love your enthusiasm.
Where do I even start?
Well, I think a good place to start is with RoleCatcher's Career Compass.
Career compass. Okay.
Yeah, it's a tool on their platform that's designed to help you explore different career paths within the seafood industry.
Okay, so it goes even beyond just being a wholesale seafood merchant.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because you might find that your skills and interests are a better fit for something else.
Oh, that's a really good point.
Like maybe you're meant to be a seafood sustainability consultant,
Okay.
or perhaps you're drawn to the fast-paced world of seafood import-export.
Oh.
Career Compass can help you map out all those possibilities.
So before you even start like polishing your resume,
Exactly.
RoleCatcher can help you define your goals and kind of see that bigger picture.
It's all about figuring out where you fit in.
That's a really good point. Okay, so let's say I know I've used Career Compass.
Yep.
And I'm set on being a wholesale seafood merchant.
You ready to go for it?
Okay. I'm ready to dive into the job search.
Okay.
What's next?
Well, you're going to need a resume,
Of course.
but not just any resume.
Okay.
You need a resume that stands out,
Okay.
one that highlights your skills and experience.
Okay. How do I make my resume stand out?
Well, RoleCatcher has this really cool tool, an AI-powered resume builder.
AI and resumes. What does that even mean?
I know it sounds futuristic,
It
right?
does.
But basically, you input your skills,
Yeah.
your experience, your career goals,
Okay.
and their AI analyzes all that information.
Okay.
And then it actually suggests ways to optimize your resume for specific job applications.
So you're not just using the same generic resume
No.
for every job you apply to.
Exactly. You've got to tailor it.
Okay.
Make sure that it's hitting all the right notes.
So it grabs the attention of those potential employers.
Exactly. Because let's be real.
Okay.
A lot of companies now use those applicant tracking systems.
The ATS systems.
The ATS systems.
I've heard those can be brutal.
They can be tough.
What even are they?
So basically, an ATS is like a software application
Okay.
that scans your resume
Okay.
looking for specific keywords and phrases
Oh, okay.
that match the job description.
Okay.
And if your resume isn't optimized for these systems, it might never even be seen by a human.
Oh, no.
I know, it's scary stuff.
So RoleCatcher helps you get past the robots.
Exactly. Their AI resume builder helps you identify and incorporate those keywords strategically.
It's like having a secret weapon in the resume game.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay, so my resume is in tip-top shape,
Okay.
thanks to RoleCatcher.
You're looking good.
I've landed an interview. Now what?
Now comes the really fun part.
Okay.
The interview.
Oh, no.
But don't worry.
Oh, wait.
RoleCatcher's got you covered there, too.
Okay, good.
They have this amazing database of over 120,000 interview questions.
Wow.
A lot of them are tailored specifically to the wholesale seafood industry.
So it's not just like
Yeah.
general interview
Oh, no,
questions.
they've got questions
Okay.
like, tell me about a time you had to deal with a difficult supplier.
Okay.
Or how would you handle a situation where a shipment of oysters was delayed?
Wow.
So you can really practice those industry-specific scenarios.
So it's like having a cheat sheet for the interview.
Kind of,
Mm.
but instead of giving you the answers,
Right.
it helps you prepare for anything they might throw at you.
Right. Like you said, practice makes perfect.
Exactly. And they even have this cool feature
Okay.
where you can record yourself answering practice questions
Okay.
and then get feedback on your performance.
Wow.
Isn't that neat?
That would have been a game changer
I know, right?
when I was starting out.
Me too. To be able to see yourself on video
Yeah.
and hear how you're coming across.
Because you don't always realize
No,
how you sound to other people.
exactly. It's so helpful.
Were there any other like features or tools of RoleCatcher
Yeah.
that stood out to you as you were kind of going through and researching this?
You know, one thing that really impressed me was their focus on continuous career development.
Oh, interesting.
So it's not just about helping you get the job.
Right.
It's about helping you thrive in your career.
Oh, cool.
Once you have, so they have all these resources for negotiating salaries, navigating office politics.
Oh, that's important.
I know, right?
It's like the stuff they don't teach you in school,
Exactly.
right? Like how to deal with difficult coworkers or how to ask for a raise.
Exactly.
That's really cool that they help you with that.
It's so important because it's easy to think that once you've got the job, that the hard part is over.
Right.
But in reality, that's just the beginning.
Exactly. That's just the beginning of a whole new chapter.
And RoleCatcher seems to get that.
Yeah.
They want to support you every step of the way.
It's like having a career mentor
Yeah,
in your back pocket.
I love that analogy. A career mentor in your back pocket.
Right.
That's RoleCatcher.
Yeah. So as we wrap up our deep dive today
Yeah.
into the world of wholesale seafood merchants,
It's been a journey.
we've learned that it's a career path that demands a unique combination of market knowledge, negotiation skills, and a genuine passion for this industry.
Yeah, you gotta love seafood.
You gotta love seafood.
You gotta love the hustle.
It's a demanding job,
It is.
but it can also be incredibly rewarding
Absolutely.
for the right person.
If you're up for the challenge,
Exactly.
it's a great field to be in.
And with resources like RoleCatcher, that path, I think, becomes a lot more accessible
Oh, for sure. They give you the tools,
and less daunting.
the guidance you need to succeed.
Exactly. So this is the deep dive signing off for now.
Until next time.
Keep exploring, keep learning, and never stop diving deeper.